Hey, Jules Plus Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. Sorry if you were expecting Lissa's raw food romance. Hey, we're equally hot. It's all good. Oh my gosh, you guys. Yeah, I put her likeness on there. It wasn't clickbait. It's because I want to give a serious shout out to how authentic and amazing she is. Like, that's straight up. If you don't know Lissa's Raw Food Romance, you can find her on every social media platform for health. You know, she's out there. And she's also just a really good interview for people who are lucky enough to have her. And recently she did an interview with Chef AJ, but they've actually been doing different things together. So Chef AJ is completely plant-based. Lissa, which is like her professional name, but her name is Melissa in life, she is raw and has been for 8.5 years already. Amazing. So yeah, she is doing a couple of things with Chef AJ, where one of them does plant-based vegan, and then Lissa shows them how to make that raw, or vice versa, which is very cool. And she's married to Nate the Great. But maybe that's his thing. So on Instagram, he's, I gotta think about that, raw Nate T. So like Natty, and then N and the number 8. So I don't know if that's like raw Natey Nate, like nighty night. But they are thick as thieves and inseparable, and she is stoked in life right now. Well, I was going to give a little bit of her backstory, which is just kind of out there in the universe. It wasn't anything we talked about. But what I love about her is her free spirit in the way that she's willing to take risks in the moment. If it feels right, she does it. She's one of those, you know? And a lot of us wouldn't dare to take that risk, but it's just who she is, you know? And I'll get to why I ended up speaking with her and why she has such a generous heart, but I was going to give a little bit of the backstory. So Nate, who by all accounts is the love of her life, right? And I think they'll be married 4 years very soon. And they met like a year or two before that. I don't know. But anyway, it's been an amazing, amazing relationship. And she's, been able to leap through whatever it takes to make that relationship happen. Like, honestly, she's from Canada, if you don't know that. And she actually moved to America, happily moved for that relationship. And even though they started out in Ashland, Oregon, which is such a cute town if you're not familiar. Oh my gosh. They have the Shakespeare Festival. It's just a really artsy, walkable place, in my experience anyway. It's been a few years since I've been there. And then they ended up in Vegas, which is just like so interesting because they're not into the glam of Vegas per se. They're really into just hiking the beautiful mountain ranges in that desert and stuff, and making their careers happen. And you have to make the career happen, right? Raw vegan, sure. If you know me, or if you were ever part of the Tanny Raw Reset, if you're not familiar, you can look that up on my page as well. I gave a shout out to her a while back. I talk about 101 Annie. There's different people who've been raw and they get it, but it's still not the biggest facet, right, of healthy eating. So you really have to keep the momentum, and boy, those two are unstoppable right now, honestly. So anyway, way back when she was like 20 or 21, she got married to this person and actually became Mormon for them. Like, she was raised Catholic, but they were just twice a year Catholics, right? Like, they'd go at Easter and Christmas, which matters. You know me, I miss Catholicism. I love being Catholic. It works for me. I love all things Catholic. The Holy Family, whoop, whoop. I mean, they're as real to me as you any day. But she wasn't really raised religious. And so when she got married, she was willing to become Mormon. And they were only together for like a year, that it just wasn't going to happen. So shortly after that, she ended up re-meeting a kid that she had dated in high school. and they were like right on. So they got back together, and they were together for 12 years, and they were married for 8 of those years. Like, wow, right? And they started to grow in a different direction and everything. And she decided, yeah, this isn't going to be for a lifetime. But every single time, she loves the lessons. She loves the takeaway. Like, how brilliant is it to not live in regret? And so then she ended up dating, a little bit in between, but mostly she decided to focus on herself, to just get on with being well. So while she was still with her high school sweetheart, she did end up finding raw vegan. She actually found it back in 2004, but it didn't stick. Then she was in a health food store in the health food industry, if you will, for like most of that time, like 12 years or something. And finally, she just went all in. She had that terrible acne. Like, I don't even think, if you go into her history, like that super painful acne, I can't even think of what it's called, but there was just a lot that she was dealing with. And then she finally got vegan, and going raw allowed her to start losing weight. But the beautiful part of it was that she started to own who she was and who she was called to be. And she got comfortable being with herself. She was like in one more relationship during that time. It wasn't lovely, but she had a sense that there was something waiting for her. And we all know now that it was Nate. Like, that they came together, that they ended up getting married at Woodstock Fruit Festival. What? I know. Amazing. That she ended up getting a green card and moving to America. I mean, just like all the things, it's just, I think when it's right, it flows. And some people are already saying, oh my gosh, married 3 times? What? Huh? That kind of thing. But when you know that each relationship is a building block, and that each relationship has its own gifts and you can learn from them, and that ultimately staying where you don't belong and keeping stagnant is death of the soul, if nothing else. And by no means am I recommending divorce. I'm not. But what I also know is that I would not have the love of my life but for divorce, and not my divorce. He's literally the only love of my life, which is a blessing and grace for me. But he's been married before, right? And has, a whole other history. But life brought us together, and I rejoice to no end. So I got nothing on that. But for divorce, I would not have my husband. Yeah. Anyway, what it tells me is that it's a person who's willing to take risks for love. She loves loving. And so if it took 3 times to get it right, praise God. Anyway, though, so that's kind of her backstory that I'm familiar with. And she's been so successful. She has at least 7 books. Look up Lissa's Rawfood Romance on Amazon. I think there's like at least 7 books. There's an 8th book with she and Nate that they made together. She has a new book. It's actually coming up on May 1st. They're having one of those $50, pay $50 and get $6,500 worth of content. It's a raw vegan one coming up. And she has a new book in there on wraps, on different wraps to make. And again, if you just go up to not the top bar, but the one within Jules Plus Vegan, and you put in wraps, I have a fantastic spinach wrap in there. I have a fantastic apple wrap in there, which I would love to do something with someday. But she has a wraps book coming out, which is going to be in that bundle to begin with, but then afterwards she'll be selling that as well. And she just loves food. She knows how to plate. She makes it beautiful. Okay, so my situation, where I want to just say that she's so authentic and so amazing, is that, and this is not going to be everybody's story. I can't even say that she could honor this for everybody. But she did for me, and it's worth mentioning because it was really a testimony to what a beautiful soul she is. And as successful as she is, and believe me, she's so successful. I mean, honestly, from mainstream media to somebody like Chef AJ's show to the most humble little shows. And maybe on Jules Plus Vegan, I'll have her sometime as an interview. She strikes me as somebody who would say yes, even though I have such a humble following. If you've never subscribed, could you help me get to 350, please? I think I'm at 346. I think I made it to 347 one time. But Mercury is in retrograde, so who knows? You want to put me over 350? I'd be so happy. Okay, anyway, though, during the COVID, so like, a year and a half or so, I had signed up because amazingly, she still coaches like 1 hour sessions. And a lot of the time when people get as busy as she is, from the recipe making to being on everybody else's show to the interviews with her books, like everything, they just can't do it. And even if they do, it's expensive. So about a year and a half ago or 2 years, I saw a thing and it said that it was $100 to talk to her for an hour. And I was like, wait, what? I can talk to Lissa's Raw Food Romance? So yes. So I went ahead and put in for it, and a thing came out with like 4 pages, and you fill in all your life and everything. Well, I got to the fourth page, and it was like, be honest about what you're eating. I've only been in the vegan movement for like 4 years, and I was faltering with my food at the time, which was part of the reason that I was reaching out. And I just was paralyzed when it said, be honest about what you're eating. I could not make myself do it. I went ahead and like put all that paperwork in a drawer and just lost it. Like time just passed. Well, just a short while ago, I opened that drawer and saw that paperwork and saw that fourth page. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to reach out. I mean, I'll probably get, a secretary or someone, and they'll probably say, it's been a long time. If you want to talk to her, you're going to have to repay. And I was thinking, you know what, that's okay. I could repay. But I did write on there and say, hey, I lost my way. I know it's been over a year and a half, but I'm just going to ask if you need me to repay, let me know. But I'm just going to put it out there. So within a very short minute, really, I got an email. And I'm thinking, again, it's going to be a secretary or something. No. This would be like writing Oprah in Oprah calling back going, what's up, Jules? There's Lissa going, wow, a year and a half, that really is a long time. But yeah, I'll honor it. You don't have to pay more. Let's just make a time. And I'm like, what? I was stoked. I was just like, wow, thank you so much. And so I wrote it back. Yes, please. Love it. We found a time, for Zoom. So anyway, I mean, I already was starstruck. Like, I'm in love that she only charges $100 for an hour. I was in love that she dared to say you don't have to repay, and it's all good. So anyway, just Saturday, and what is today? I can't even think. Is this Wednesday? So just a couple days ago, we arranged a time, and I called on Zoom, And the thing is, when we were doing when the COVID was going on, and I'm a school teacher, Zoom had unlimited time because they knew that a ton of teachers all over the country were using it as the venue to communicate with their students, because for at least the first year of COVID, we all had to go online. And even in the second year, many children opted to stay home, and only half the class came back face to face. So we had to do a dual session. And then finally, most schools are face-to-face. But anyway, they gave unlimited time. Well, as schools have gone back, as things have kind of normalized, they reduced it again to 40 minutes. And then after 40 minutes, you actually have to have like a premium subscription instead of free. And so she immediately wrote me, and she's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened with Zoom, but it's at 40 minutes now. But don't worry. We can just hang up and go right back in for 20 more minutes. I thought, oh my gosh, right? Like, so considerate. She easily could have said, look, you missed your opportunity anyway, but since I'm giving you the time, we're just going to honor that 40 minutes because, I mean, you're getting a discount, really. I mean, you paid that money's long gone. And instead, she's like, no, we'll just go back in for 20. Did I mention I'm in love? Are you kidding me? So that's what I mean. I just wanted to give a shout out. It's really refreshing. I mean, I've seen her talk with people. I've seen her interviews and things, but that can be really different when it's one-on-one, right? And to be fair, I love talking to people, and it's a lot of fun for me, and I don't mind praising people, and the conversation was just very fluid and very cool. And she was saying, "Well, what do you need from me?" And I thought, "Nothing." And she's like, "Okay, but you wanted to talk?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know it's really funny, but I honestly just wanted to say that we're on the planet at the same time." And that it's amazing that in all of the universe, we're both here. And I wanted to reach out and say, hey, I see you, and I appreciate you. And it was really just about that. It really was. But because I am super informed about the raw vegan and about the vegan movement and just about the different resources and things, one of the fun things we kind of talked about was the freeze dried method instead of dehydration. And I don't know if you're into freeze dried people, those machines are huge. They're about 3 times the size of an average dehydrator. They're like a apartment fridge, if you will. And they cost a lot of money. But what's amazing about them is that you only lose about 10% of the nutrients. You retain like 90% of the nutrients. Whereas with a dehydrator, which by nature is removing, fluid and dehydrating the food, you lose about 40%. So I totally get that. The cool thing for her and Nate is that they love to go hiking. So if they have their freeze-dried food, it's awesome for them to do that. They travel, again, super easy, freeze-dried food. So it's a very cool idea. I was telling her that when I got married, it'll be 25 years in August, I actually had my bouquet, sorry, playing with a rock. I like this rock. It says courage, and I need courage for so many reasons. But anyway, I actually had my wedding bouquet freeze-dried. So it still has some of the colors of the roses, and I have it forever. It's behind this dome, and it was just a great idea that my sister Vanessa had recommended at the time. And even 25 years ago, it was $175 to have that bouquet freeze-dried. So I kind of understand why these personal machines are expensive, but they kind of are the new trend, right, that people are going with. But anyway, it was just really neat. She loves people. I said, how is it that you can still only charge $100 for an hour? How do you even find an hour? And she said, this is where my heart is. I want to help people. I want them to live the better way. If someone needs help, I want to be available to them. And I intentionally work in these hours. And I get it. I mean, it keeps her humble, and it gives her a chance to really feel the immediate satisfaction, gratification of being able to help another person. And it keeps it personal, because it's so true. When you get at that height, and I don't even know how many followers she had, but I know, like with Tanny Raw had 65,000 on YouTube, and another 60,000 on Instagram. And after a while, it's kind of hard to navigate who's authentic and who just wants to take from you, who just wants to use you, that kind of thing. And I'm sure Lissa experiences some of that as well. And it's kind of just the nature of the game. But it was refreshing to just be able to spend a little time and find out that she really is all that she appears to be. Just a kind-hearted, simple person who just wants to show the better way. And on the side, she obviously has to charge and make money and make her books work and everything, so she can live and spread this good message, right? Which is definitely her right. But shout out, I don't think she'll ever see this video, but Melissa, you were amazing, and I hope to find you again sometime, and just keep it going, girl. And I'm just so happy for you and Nate that you found each other, that you took a risk on love yet again, and that the universe said yes. What? Anyway, my friends, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. Let me know, do you know Lissa's Rawfood Romance? Is she new to you? She's got a gazillion videos. Check it out. If you don't know her, find her at Rawfood Romance on Insta. And, she's just out there doing her thing. Until we talk again, best of all, because these resources are available And because we've learned the better way to live, we're blessed.